We have three main policies which we wish to triumph: abolish the executive presidency, enact the 17th Amendment to the Constitution, and change the electoral system. If this government fails to implement these policies, all parties involved, while maintaining their respective agendas, must field a common candidate accepted by everyone for the upcoming presidential election and triumph in our objectives and policies. There will be numerous hardships and obstacles on this long journey. This is not a personal victory. Let's make it our objective to transform this into a victory of principles. If one bribery commission is not enough, establish another one. Be swift, take swift decisions and show the people who the rogues are and who the good people are. This has no party, race or religion. This is a people's victory. So do not let this day go to waste. We need to live without fear and suspicion. We need that freedom. We have to strictly implement the laws of the country and free this unfortunate country. We invite everyone to join hands to rebuild this country and bring about a new era, free of injustice, fraud, corruption, thievery and fear. Every one of us, including you and I, speak of the Venerable Thera with much reverence and respect. His courage, dedication and determination are factors which were crucial to the social transformation, the dawn of a new era and the political revolution in this country.
The Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera, who for over 6 decades worked towards ensuring social justice and democracy in Sri Lanka, passed away in Singapore today. The chairman and staff of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited express a deep sense of loss and grief at this somber occasion. Let's now take a look at tonight's headlines.
The mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera to return to Sri Lanka shortly. Final rites to be observed with full state honours at the Parliament grounds on Thursday. Avant-garde deal continues to heat up the political arena. The legal profession is being abused. A statement from senior lawyer G.J. Arulpragasam. Youth killed after being dragged under a pickup truck from Yakkala to Tiharia.
The mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera are to arrive in Sri Lanka in a short while. Newsfirst Chaturanga Hapwarachi joins us now from the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayaka with more.
The remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera is to arrive in the country in a short while via a special Sri Lankan airline flight UL309. The flight is due to arrive in the country around 9:15 p.m. Once the body arrives in the Katunayaka Bandaranaike International Airport, it will be taken to a private funeral parlour in Colombo, and subsequently in the morning it will be taken to the Naga Viharaya in Kotte for public respect. I am Chaturanga Hapwarachi reporting from the Bandaranaike International Airport premises for News First.
The Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera bid farewell to this life at the Mount Elizabeth Hospital in Singapore early this morning.
The Most Venerable Thera's mortal remains were brought to the Sri Lankan High Commission in Singapore following his passing at the Mount Elizabeth Hospital this morning. Religious observances were conducted at the High Commission. Minister of Buddha Sasana Vijayadasa Rajapaksa noted that following religious observances, the Venerable Thera's mortal remains would be brought to the Singapore International Airport and would return home aboard the Sri Lankan Airlines flight. Issuing a message of condolences today, President Maithripala Sirisena stated that the passing of the Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera has caused grief to the entire nation. The statement reads further that the Venerable Thera, who was respected by all communities and not only Buddhists, will be honoured as the Thera who worked to ensure the integrity of the Sasana and society and to instill the qualities of religious coexistence and democracy in the country. The President notes further that the Venerable Thera showed immense courage in giving leadership to the movement for good governance and to bring the country onto the correct path. President Maithripala Sirisena concludes that it is the responsibility of all Sri Lankans to ensure the realization of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera's vision for a developed Sri Lanka replete with social justice. Following the passing of the Venerable Thera, members of the Mahasangha, the Prime Minister, the Speaker, ministers and MPs and devotees gathered at the Sri Naga Vihara in Kotte. A special meeting was held at the premises regarding the observing of final rites. The meeting was held under the auspices of the Chief Prelate of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samashri Dhamma Mahasangha Council, the Most Venerable Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera. It was decided at this meeting to observe the final rites for the Most Venerable Thera at 3 p.m. on Thursday the 12th of November at the Parliament grounds with full state honours. It was also decided that the 12th of November would be declared a national day of mourning.
Sobitha Thera is a national icon. We shall extend full state honours to the Venerable Thera. The government, the President, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet are prepared to do this. The people of Sri Lanka are ready to extend their fullest respects. We pray that he attains Nibbana. We have decided to appoint a special media committee to take to the country the message of Venerable Sobitha Thera's service to the nation and his work for the country and social justice. It is a great loss for all of us. I do not think this can be expressed in words. We have appealed to the Chief Prelates to allow for the final rites to be observed with full state honours. We will continue to be bound to implement the fundamentals that Venerable Sobitha Thera fought for. The Venerable Thera always worked for the country, the people and for justice and fairness. His passing is a great blow to the country and the people. The Venerable Thera was the recipient of great honour and respect, regardless of divisions of ethnicity or caste. He has also received the honour and respect of the international community. Therefore, the government has decided to declare the 12th of November a day of national mourning. I do not think our society will be blessed with such a Thera who rendered such an immense service to society for another 100 years. Speaking at an event held in Tissa Maharama today, Minister Sajith Premadasa also expressed his sympathies at the passing of Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera. Venerable Sobitha Thera never hesitated to speak against wrongdoing in public. In matters which cause harm to the country and were disadvantageous to the country, he came forward. He came forward to heal the suffering of the people of this country. Many people today are aware that a government of good governance would not be formed today if not for the leadership, strength and guidance of Venerable Sobitha Thera.
The mortal remains of Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera has arrived in Sri Lanka a short while ago. Let's now take a look at live visuals from the Katunayake International Airport. Let's now take a look at the life of Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera.
Born on the 29th of May 1942 in Maduluwawe in Padukuhoma Gama as P.T. Ratnasekara, the Venerable Thera dedicated his life to the Buddhist order at the age of 13. After gaining his higher education at the Vidyalankara Pirivana and the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, the Venerable Thera gained recognition both locally and internationally as Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera.
My father had a desire to enter a son into the bhikkhu order. My father had many relatives in Kotte and my mother, amid much hesitation, gave up her son. He has been working for the country ever since.
Since entering the Sri Naga Vihara Kotte in 1955, Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera engaged in a fearless journey for the good of the masses while safeguarding and nourishing the Sangha of Sri Lanka and at the same time taking the teachings of Buddhism across the world. His life, which he dedicated for the welfare of the masses, instilled a sense of strength and faith among the people of Sri Lanka. Through his vibrant, energetic voice, Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera took on the role of an active leader to materialize the vision of national reconciliation and create social transformation in the country. The Venerable Thera gave leadership to the national struggle of several temperance movements and the Sinhala Veeravidhana, which came into being with the establishment of the Sinhala Bala Mandalaya by Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera in 1982. Through the national movement for a just society, Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera came to the forefront in this country with the objective of reaffirming equality and coexistence. The Venerable Thera played a key role in the run-up to the January 8th presidential poll, campaigning vigorously against corruption, creating the premise for the common opposition candidate and bringing about change in the country through good governance. Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera worked tirelessly until the time of his passing to vest the executive presidents in the people by forming an executive that is accountable to Parliament, establishing a constitution that is in line with the hopes and aspirations of the people, and preparing an electoral system representative of Sri Lanka. His singular hope was to establish a just society in the country. In recognition of his service, Sri Lankans of all walks of life respect Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera as the herald of a new era.
අපවත් වේ වදාළ අතිපූජ්‍ය මාතුළුවාවේ සෝබිත නාහිමියන්ගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය මෙරටට වැඩම කරවුවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව තොරතුරු දැන ගැනීමට දැන් අප සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා කටුනායක ගුවන්තොටුපළේ සිටින අප මාණ්ඩලික වාර්තාකරු රුවන් සංජීව වික්‍රමසිංහ සමගින්. රුවන්
සිංගප්පූරුවේ මවුන්ට් එලිසබෙත් රෝහලේදී අපවත් වී වදාළ පූජ්‍ය මාදුළුවාවේ සෝබිත නාහිමියන්ගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය මේට ටික වේලාවකට පෙර හරියටම තප්පර කිහිපයකට පෙර ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට වැඩම කරවනු ලැබුවා. අප මේ රැඳී සිටින්නේ කටුනායක බණ්ඩාරනායක ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයේ උන්වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය රැගත් විශේෂ ගුවන් යානයේ මේ ගුවන් පතේට ළඟා වීමෙන් අනතුරුව ශ්‍රී දේහය කොළඹ පිහිටි පෞද්ගලික මල් ශාලාවක් දක්වා රැගෙන යාම සඳහා විශේෂ රථයට තැන්පත් කරන ආකාරය අපට දැක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ අවස්ථාවේ මේ ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයේ සිදුවෙන්නේ එම කාර්ය සකල ලෝකවාසී බෞද්ධ ජනතාවම සංවේගයට පත් කරමින් උන්වහන්සේ අද අලුයම අපවත් වී වදාලා. ඉන් අනතුරුව අද පස්වරු රාත්‍රී 7:02ට පමණ විශේෂ ගුවන් යානයකින් සිංගප්පූරුවෙන් මේ උන්වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට වැඩම කරවීම සඳහා කටයුතු යෙදුණා. ඉන් අනතුරුව මීට ටික වේලාවකට පෙර එම ගුවන් යානය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ කටුනායක බණ්ඩාරනායක ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයට රැගෙන ආවා. ඉන් අනතුරුව උන්වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය මෙතෙන් සිට කොළඹ පිහිටි පෞද්ගලික මල් ශාලාවක තැන්පත් කරවීම සඳහා රැගෙන යාමට තමයි සියලු කටයුතු සූදානම් කර තිබෙන්නේ. ඔබ මේ දකින්නේ කටුනායක ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයට සම්ප්‍රාප්ත වුණු ඒ විශේෂ ගුවන් යානයේ සිට උන්වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය විශේෂ රථයේ තැන්පත් කිරීම අනතුරුව මේ වැඩම කරවීම සඳහා සියලු කටයුතු සූදානම් වෙන ආකාරය. මෙතෙන් සිට මේ කටුනායක ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයෙන් අනතුරුව උන්වහන්සේගේ ශ්‍රී දේහය වැඩම කරනු ලබන්නේ කොළඹ බොරැල්ල ප්‍රදේශයේ පිහිටි පෞද්ගලික මල් ශාලාවක. ඉතින් මේ අවස්ථාව වන විටත් මේ ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයට ගරු කතානායකතුමා ප්‍රමුඛ මැති ඇමතුරුන් ඒ වගේම මහා සංඝරත්නයත් වැඩම කරවලා සිටිනවා. මේ පිළිබඳ තොරතුරු අපි සූදානම් Newsfirst.lk විටින් විට ගෙනෙන්නට. ඒ බලාපොරොත්තු ඇතුව සමුගන්නේ Newsfirst වෙනුවෙන් රුවන් සංජීව වික්‍රමසිංහ කටුනායක බණ්ඩාරනායක ජාත්‍යන්තர ගුවන්තොටුපළ පරිශ්‍රයේ සිට.
சிங்கப்பூரில் காலமான மாதுலுவாவே சோபித் தேரரின் பூதவுடல் சற்று நேரத்திற்கு முன்னர் இலங்கைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. கட்டுநாயக்க பண்டார்நாயக்க சர்வதேச விமான நிலையத்தின் ஊடாக அவருடைய பூதவுடல் இலங்கைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. இது தொடர்பிலான மேலதிக தகவல்களை அறிந்து கொள்வதற்காக அங்கிருக்கும் எமது அலுவலக செய்தியாளர் ராசலிங்கம் ரவிரகுவை நாங்கள் தொடர்பினை ஏற்படுத்துகின்றோம். வணக்கம் ரவிரகு.
சிங்கப்பூரில் இன்று அதிகாலை காலமான கோட்டை நாகவிகாரையின் விகாராதிபதி மாதுலுவாவே சோபித தேரரின் பூத உடல் தற்போது இலங்கைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. குறிப்பாக இங்கு விசேட விமானத்தினூடாக சர்வதேச விமான நிலையத்திற்கு இந்த தேரரின் பூத உடல் சற்று நேரத்துக்கு முன்னர் கொண்டு வரப்பட்டது. முழு இலங்கையையும் இன்றைய தினம் சோகத்தில் ஆழ்த்திய அன்னாரின் இந்த மரணமானது எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இலங்கையர்களையும் முழு சோகத்தில் ஆற்றி இருக்கின்றது. ஆகவே எங்களுடைய இந்த மகா தேரரின் வித்துடலானது கொழும்பில் உள்ள தனியார் மலர் சாலை ஒன்றுக்கு கொண்டு செல்லப்பட இருக்கின்றது. இது தொடர்பான அனைத்து தகவல்களையும் வழங்குவதற்கு தயாராக இருக்கின்றோம். இது தொடர்பான ஆங்கில மொழியில் எங்களோடு சாத்துராங்க.
Thank you, Ravi Raghu. The hearse carrying the mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera arrived in the country, and the hearse carrying the mortal remains is being on its way to Colombo. As you can see, you are witnessing the visuals of the hearse carrying the mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera. The Venerable Thera passed away this morning while receiving medication in Singapore. You are witnessing visuals of the hearse carrying the mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera. As I mentioned before, Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera passed away this morning in Singapore while receiving medication. The mortal remains of Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera arrived in the country a short while ago via a special UL309 flight, and the mortal remains are being taken to Colombo via this hearse that you're witnessing. A delegation of ministers, including the Speaker and the Inspector General of Police, have also arrived here at the Katunayake Bandaranaike International Airport to pay their last respects to the mortal remains that are being taken to Colombo. You're witnessing once again the visuals of the hearse carrying the mortal remains of Most Venerable Maduluwawe Sobitha Thera, which arrived in the country a very short while ago, and the mortal remains are being taken to Colombo, which will be taken to a private funeral parlour in Colombo.
Minister Rauf Hakim charges that the corrupt are still roaming free.
January 8 වෙනිදා සිදුවුණු
We hope that following the revolution on the 8th of January, all the bad things which took place in the country would vanish. Nearly a year has passed since the new government came to power, and at no instance can we be satisfied with the fact that the bad era still exists. There is major doubt among the public as to whether we have done enough to fulfill their expectations. We say that we condemn corruption and fear, yet the corrupt are free. There are instances where we cannot constantly give answers to the public with regard to this matter. In addition to the weekly cabinet meeting, the President has been compelled to convene another cabinet meeting the day after tomorrow. Minister Rauf Hakim made these comments at the 6th convention of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress yesterday.
Transactions of avant-garde took centre stage on several political platforms today as well.
Addressing an event held in Jala to felicitate UNP activists of Gampa today, State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena expressed his views on the matter. The present government is now left with the task of cleansing the sins committed by the previous government. Although the opposition is accusing us for this avant-garde issue, it was the previous government that granted the permit for this institution. It is imperative that the President and the Prime Minister hold discussions on this matter together, and that a transparent investigation be conducted through which the issues at avant-garde will be revealed to the general public. I believe that it would be much better for the government and the country if this is done as quickly as possible, because there is another accusation circulating that we are protecting the thieves of the previous government. We have no intention whatsoever of protecting any thieves. Meanwhile, speaking at a media briefing held today, former mayor of Kaduwela G.H. Buddhadasa expressed his views on avant-garde. Now the cabinet of ministers is split in two. The problem has gone to an extent where the president has called a special cabinet meeting on Monday. Ministers partly Champika Ranawaka, Rajitha Senaratne and Arjun Ranatunga are on one side saying that an investigation must be held into this. On the other side, Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa and the minister in charge of police are speaking on behalf of their client. This has made the general public clueless and helpless. So I request the president and the prime minister to reveal the truth about this issue.
The JVP has vehemently condemned the order issued by the IGP, which stated the need to consult the Attorney General when arresting suspects connected to large-scale corruption cases.
During a media briefing held yesterday, JVP Politburo member Bimal Ratnayaka questioned whether the IGP has a legal right to issue such an order. Police media spokesperson ASP Ron Gunasekara expressed these views to the media today with regard to the allegations.
Who has said that the Attorney General needs to be consulted? Did the police consult the AG before this? Was he consulted now? The statement made by parliamentarian Bimal Ratnayaka can be considered as a statement made without having proper knowledge of the facts, and it is in fact a misleading statement. What the IGP says is that when a complaint is directed to the FCID, an investigation needs to be conducted, and if a suspect is to be arrested, then consult the Attorney General before making the arrest. If the AG is to be consulted, will the court cases get delayed? Especially when it concerns a politician or other such individuals, do you consult the AG in this way? There are two reasons why the IGP issued these orders. One is that the investigations carried out by the FCID are very complex investigations. When handling complex investigations, it is suitable to consult the AG before arresting a suspect. The second reason is that several fundamental rights petitions have been filed in the Supreme Court with regard to investigations of the FCID. Therefore, the most suitable thing for the FCID to do when arresting a suspect is to consult the AG before arresting. According to Section 393 in Chapter 33 of the Code of Criminal Procedures, there are provisions to obtain legal advice when arresting suspects during investigations. The IGP has not given out an order with regard to arrests made by other divisions of the police. Officers of those divisions have the freedom to decide to obtain legal advice when arresting suspects for their investigations. However, on earlier occasions too, the Attorney General has been consulted with regard to arrests made by the FCID. There are clear legal provisions to consult the Attorney General when required. This has been happening over the years, and it did not start yesterday.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca charges that a majority of parliamentarians are corrupt.
People of this nation worship two other religions. That is the religion of blue and green. Even if their expectations are fulfilled or not, they continue to worship these religions. We advise people during the elections to not elect them, and that if they do, their expectations will never be fulfilled. Look at the 225 who are elected to Parliament this time around. Those who garnered the most number of votes are the thieves, thugs, ethanol dealers and liquor racketeers. But we cannot remain like our lives are over. We have to strive to finish the journey we commenced for the sake of our country until we accomplish our target.
Sarath Fonseca made these comments at a public meeting held in Giriulle yesterday.
A young man was killed in a motor accident which occurred during a perahera in Yakkala this morning.
The police say that a speeding pickup truck had run over a group of people participating in the perahera. Our correspondent said that the victim, who was performing a dance item in the perahera, was dragged underneath the pickup truck from Yakkala to Thiharia. The 26-year-old youth was killed while 3 others sustained injuries in the incident.
The 2 who were injured were sent in a van. After that, we started searching for the other person. Turns out he had been dragged underneath the vehicle for nearly 6 kilometers.
Eyewitnesses said the pickup truck driver had sped off following the initial collision. The police have arrested 4 people, including the driver, and have seized the pickup truck. Meanwhile, 6 people, including 3 members of the military police, were injured in an accident that took place in the Kannatti area along the Anuradhapura-Mihintale main road this morning. The accident occurred while 3 army deserters were being transported to the Galkulama camp after being arrested. Both parties sustained injuries and were admitted to the Mihintale hospital. However, it was reported that 2 of the 3 army deserters who were arrested had fled shortly after being admitted to hospital.
Speaking in Badulla today, Minister Nimal Siddipal De Silva reiterated the reasons for him to join the government.
Maithripala Sirisena මැතිතුමා අපිට ඉල්ලා සිටියා මේ ආණ්ඩුවට එකතු වෙන්න කියලා.
President Maithripala Sirisena requested us to join the government, so we thought about it for a while. We had two options. One option was to remain in the opposition and stage protests while lifting placards at Lipton roundabout or stage a sit-in in Parliament. But is there any point in doing these things? The moment I came into power, you requested water supply systems, employment and roads. So while Parliament cannot be dissolved for another 4 years, I cannot give you these things while in the opposition. Whatever that could be provided to you could only be provided while holding a certain position in the government. It is not like I joined the United National Party. I did not go to the arms of Ranil Wickremesinghe.
ඒ මිසක් මේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයට ගියේ නැහැ. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා.
Speaking at an event today, SSP Ajit Rohana made a special statement about the challenges he had to face while serving as a police media spokesperson.
SSP Ajit Rohana made this statement while addressing the batch gathering and gratitude ceremony of legal apprentices of 2015 of the Sri Lanka Law College.
I served as a police media spokesperson for a period of 3 years. During that period of my service, on many occasions I was accused of covering up for the police. I was called a parrot. But I believe that I, as the police media spokesperson, was able to present certain facts with much flexibility. I was able to do so because of the education I received as a police officer and an attorney. So at times when I could not answer a question, I at the very least provide an answer by referring to the Marriage and Divorce Act.
මට සමහර වෙලාවට මොනවාම හරි උත්තරයක් දෙන්න අවස්ථාවක් නැති වෙනකොට මම ওই නීතියේ අඩු ගානේ විවාහ දික්කසා දාක්ෂා පනතේ වගන්ති. හරි උත්තරයක් දෙනවා.
Which is why I proposed to the Inspector General of Police that my predecessor should also have a legal background. The police is an institution which always comes under scrutiny. This is not only in our country, but all over the world. But it is the police media spokesperson that appears on behalf of the institution and the people. The people do not want to admit everything that the police media spokesperson says.
ඔහු කියන හැම කාරණයක්ම ජනතාව පිළිගන්න ලෑස්ති නැහැ.
It's a noble profession. When you passed out as a lawyer and when you introduced you as a lawyer, people will look upon you, a person with a standing, a person with a caliber, a person with a quality. Please live up to that expectation. Nobody could prevent you dreaming something in life. Yes, but no point of dreaming and getting up in the morning have a daydream. Make it into a reality. To make it into a reality, you have to be practical. It's easy to get into this profession, but maintain the hallowed tradition and to live up to the expectation is very hard. I am sorry to say, today, this so-called noble profession has been misused to the hilt. People are using this profession and emblem to do illegal things and escape. Don't ever use this noble profession or this emblem of attorney at law to do wrong things.
Sri Lanka has claimed 4th place in the Rugby Sevens tournament held to select Asian region qualifiers for the Olympic Games. The Sri Lankan women's team was placed last among the 6 participating teams. The Tuskers were defeated by Asian champions Japan in the semi-finals held in Hong Kong today. Now, following the defeat, Sri Lanka faced South Korea for the 3rd place match. The match saw both sides score 7 points in the first half of the game, and thereafter South Korea went on to beat Sri Lanka 26-21. Japan defeated Hong Kong 24-10 in the finals and subsequently qualified to represent Asia at the Olympic Games next year. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan women's rugby team were defeated by Guam in the 5th place playoff. The Japanese women's team qualified for the Olympics, defeating Kazakhstan in the finals. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudarnayaka. Good night.